concentrated on marginalization of Ndigbo. But in fairness, every region in Nigeria is marginalized. That's what I believe in.
If you say every part of Nigeria is marginalized, obviously some parts have to be favored more than the others.
Well,
you don't believe that?
That could be correct. Politically, yes. Some.
Available.
Are you there?
Yes,
some zones are actually better off. Some zones are actually better off than the other. I think the Southeast is the most marginalized region in Nigeria at the moment.
Okay, I can see that Dr. Gesto has joined us back. Dr. Gesto?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay,
I'll continue without the video.
Okay,
yeah,
I think that's better.
Question. I heard the conversation, the discussions you are making. So I think to make it very clear, we need to understand really what's really the terminology we are using. Is it either, are we using it culturally? Are we using it politically? Are we using it administratively? Are we using it geographically? Or are we using it socially? Or are we using it mentally? The fact that one group or one region or one country or one part of the country or one state or one ethnic group or tribe or local government or whatever is marginalized. In my discussions, we will be able to understand either the answer is yes or no. I don't want to go into conclusion. I already have a conclusion. But nevertheless, let's understand, let's look at the situation. What is Nigeria? For me, we only have Nigeria in geography. We only have the geography, the geographical terrain called Nigeria, but we don't have Nigeria in mind. We don't have Nigeria at heart. That is why we are blaming one another and saying that Nigeria, one community or one ethnic group or one geographical location or one geopolitical zone is saying is marginalized by the other. If we need to look at Nigeria as in a different context. One, we have to look at it looking at the 6 geopolitical zones, whereby we have Northwest, North Central, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, and South-South. So looking at all this, at the same time, we need to understand what is really really driving us towards this language we are using, saying that this is marginalized text. Looking at the social distributions or community distribution or economic social exclusion or employment or what are we looking or lack of influence by one region or another or by one social system or another, or are we looking at it in the social context as a general concept or as a political context in a general context, or we're looking at economic context as a general context, or we're looking at the distribution of resources. And even if we look at the resources, which resources are we referring? Are we referring to human, material, or financial, and so on and so forth? Or are we looking at the political distribution or marginalization in terms of political domination, administrative domination, or domination in the civil service, in the private sector, in the public industries, in the public domain, in the federal ministries, or in the parastatals and the MDS? Or
okay,
are
Dr.
we looking
Gesto,
at the power sharing?
Dr. Gesto, let us start the discussion looking at the political structure. Let us understand if any region is marginalized politically, then we can move from there.
Well, the question, I want to have a background quickly, a run-off background, then I take them one after the other, then we can be able to understand either one region or one community or state is marginalized.
Okay, let me give you a background. Okay, let me give you a background. I was trying to say in my introduction before I was cut off by the network. I said recently we've had an increased agitation for a referendum and calling for the balkanization of Nigeria. Now, the key reason for this is that some regions are claiming to be marginalized and that the government of the day is not practicing an inclusive government. So I'm asking, is the sentiment valid?
Well, I think we need to understand you are trying to validate, or you have already made a conclusive position, which means that your TV station already have a conclusive position.
We
If
do
you
not
made
have
mention that
we do not
okay,
have a
fine.
conclusive.
So if
I'm
you
just
don't
stating
have a
facts.
conclusive position, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, each and every region, nobody is marginalized in Nigeria. The fact of the matter is, do we really have a country called Nigeria? Or we only have a geographical cycle, a geographical entity, a geographical territory called Nigeria? That is the first question you need to ask. Because if you tell me that the government of the day is not inclusive, in the you have almost all the religion, Rotimi, Amechi, you have someone from Kano, you have someone from Sokoto, you have somebody from Katsina, you have somebody from Enugu, from Lagos, from Benue, from Nasarawa, from Niger, from Kaduna, from Taraba. All the states are represented. They are either represented in the ministerial appointment or in the appointment of the permanent secretaries, who are the policy drivers, who are the driving forces, the wheel of the vehicle, moving the train or moving the car or moving the plane. So if we look at it, and then at the same time, when we narrow down, that is by the states. And when we narrow down, looking at the northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, and north central, there is appointment given. If we look at the first starters, whichever first starter and MDS that we have, the question is, we have a problem whereby once you have somebody from the north ruling the country, so some other part of the country, they will feel that, no, we are marginalized. Likewise, if somebody is ruling from the southern part of the country, either from the south or from the southeast, I know this happens when Babangida was the president. It happens when Abacha was the president. It happens when Shonikan came into power. It happens during the Obasanjo. It happens during Omar Musa Yar'Adua, and likewise even today. But if we look at it, let's look at the infrastructural development. If you look at the number of roads, now you take, for example, in the whole northern Nigeria, you don't have a good 200-kilometer road that is in good shape, in good position. And how many institutions, federal institutions, do we have in Lagos? How many federal institutions do we have in Port Harcourt? How many federal institutions do we have in other parts of the south, southeast, and other regions? And looking at the distribution of these institutions, comparing with what is obtainable in the northeast or far northwest, looking at Zamfara, looking at Sokoto, looking at Kebbi, when you compare it with other states, and you also look at the population, if we are looking at the context, the quantum of the population of each of these states, look at Kaduna, for example. So when you look at all these states, and you compare, you look at also, you bring down to the table the number of institutions we have. So administratively, you can make it is very clear that other parts of the country have dominated northern part of the country far in terms of the number of employed personnel, human resources, capital resources, in terms of economic distribution and redistribution. And at the same time, remember, look at how many megawatts is being supplied to and how what is being distributed. And at the same time, yes, of course, before we have what is called in the whole part of northern Nigeria, we have a number of northern elders, whatever you call it. And then in the other regions, when you look at it, you have Ndigbo, you have Finifere, you have Odua People Congress, you have this, you have that. All these are talking about region marginalized, the relationship and the issues of equity like my brother mentioned, that the southeast is the most marginalized. I don't know. I don't see any justification. Nigeria is existing as a country, so we need to have Nigeria as a country.
Okay.
We need to have it as an entity, not as a geographical entity. We need to have the feeling. We need to have it at heart. We need to believe in Nigeria. We need to have passion and compassion.
Okay.
We need to be patriotic. Then we come and answer. But when all these distributions as mentioned, what
Okay, Dr. Gesto.
I have been talking, looking at all the issues. Yes.
Okay, Dr.
Yes,
Gesto. We'll come back. We'll come back to your talk about patriotism, but just before I go to Mr. Jones, you believe that patriotism is the problem and not marginalization. Is that correct?
Yes.
Dr. Gesto, your line is breaking up.
Patriotism is the issue. That is the wife of. Oh, are you
okay?
Are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You said that patriotism is the problem and not marginalization, right?
Yes, is a missing link. Patriotism is a missing link.
Okay, let's go to.
That is what is making it difficult for us to
Jones, are you there?
Our differences.
Yes, I am here.
All right, Mr. Jones, are you there?
Yes,
okay,
I am
you
here.
heard what Dr. Gesto said. Do you agree with his sentiments?
Yeah, well, I've been placed in a position where I am left with no option but to try to respond to as many things as I can remember he claimed. If you remember in my introduction, I tried, first of all, to be a patriotic Nigerian by admitting that every Nigerian and every region is marginalized by the political class. But I also said that the Southeast region, which is not the only region in Nigeria that has Igbo population, is the most marginalized in the country at the moment. My friend Yahuza Gesto did say that we need to have a country first before we can talk about marginalization. And you try to understand that statement by saying that we need patriotism before marginalization, before talking about marginalization. And I can tell you, I want to tell you that it is, with marginalization, there cannot be patriotism. It is the leadership that inspires patriotism. If you are unfair to a group of people, you do not expect them to manufacture patriotism. If you continue to deliberately relegate a group of people who should ideally have equal stake in the Nigerian Union, it will be foolishness for them to continue to be patriotic. You have to make them have a sense of belonging first before you can demand patriotism of them. It could be right for them to say, okay, since you have decided that we are not part of Nigeria because of the sharing formula, because marginalization simply means relegating a part of a group, a part of a country to a position of powerlessness. And there can't be any argument to the reality that the Igbos of Southeast Nigeria have been relegated in the scheme of things. I will not be one of those who will place all the blames on the feet of the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think this situation has been there since 1960, even though it appears that this time around it is more obvious because of the way the country is being run at the moment. Had you told me there is no marginalization, well, there is only one region in the country that has just 5 states, while other regions have at least 6 states, and one region has 7 states, making up the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, which makes it 37 confederated units. How do you tell me there is no marginalization when there is one region in this country that doesn't have a seaport? Why that region is the most commercially viable in the country? How do you tell me there is no marginalization when there is only one region in this country of the three tripods that makes up the country, Nigeria? One of the three major ethnic groups in Nigeria has not produced a president, an elected president of the country, close to more than 60 years after independence. How do you tell me there is no marginalization?
Okay, so Mr. Jones,
yes.
let me just, Mr. Jones.
Okay,
so are you saying the southeastern region have marginalized just politically, or do you have, can you expatiate this, your claim?
I do not understand your question.
Are you speaking on just political? Are you speaking on just political marginalization or social, cultural, and economic marginalization?
When I talk about the absence of the seaport, that is economic. That's not political per se, even though it is the political leadership that should provide that. So I am still coming with other realities, other evidences that the South is marginalized. There is no infrastructure in the Southeast. Most of the federal roads are dilapidated. In fairness to the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, is the only person who seems not to be playing politics with the second Niger bridge. Before now, every election year, the president of the ruling party comes to the site of the second Niger bridge to campaign, to tell us that they are going to build it. Why is it that of all the new rail lines being built in the country, the Southeast got the least, if they got any? Why is it that currently, even with the federal character principle that is enshrined in our constitution, there is no Igbo man, there is nobody from the Southeast who has been found worthy to be among the service chiefs in the country, and you're telling me there is no marginalization? Why is it that the few Southeast or Igbo politicians in the federal cabinet are relegated to cabinet positions that could be said to not be very relevant? Why is it that every time we hear that a federal appointee has been sacked, if it is an Igbo man, he is replaced with an Hausa man? If it is an Hausa man, he is replaced with an Hausa man. Marginalization is evident in the way things are run the country. And that especially affects the Igbos. Why is it that when we talk about quota system in education, and somebody will score 2 in common entrance and into the unity schools, and he or she will be given admission because he comes from a particular part of the country, and someone who scores 180 or even 200 doesn't get admission? Why is it that in some federal parastatals across this country, you do not see an Igbo man or someone from the Southeast in commanding position? First of all, before we talk about patriotism, we have to talk about justice. We have to talk about equity. We have to talk about fairness. Without these things, there cannot be patriotism. It is only few people like us who could be said to be stupid, so to say, who will continue to believe in the country when all evidences point to no reason to continue believing. And the people who are currently in charge of the country at the moment are giving us a lot of reasons to begin to think that, well, we are not wanted. So if we must make progress, we must tell ourselves the home truth that the Igbos are being marginalized. Like Yahuza Gesto said,
okay, thank you so much.
Indices, in all economically, politically, socioculturally, even in corruption, Igbos are marginalized. Because when you talk about people who stole billions of naira, who were
thank you so much, Mr. Jones.
We don't see an Igbo man there. Thank you very much.
Mr. Jones, would have to ask you to stop here. So, because I'm sure I don't think you have the data to back up this your last clarification. But remember that you can join the conversation simply by raising up your digital hand, and I'll try to accommodate as much questions and comments as possible. We are talking on the topic, is any section or ethnic group in Nigeria really marginalized? And just before we go back to Dr. Gesto, Mr. Jones, let me ask you this. Why do you think the people of Nigeria are feeling neglected in their own country? Remember, you talked about patriotism. It has to be something that the government inspires. Why do you think the people are not inspired to be patriotic towards their government?
Because there is no good governance. Because the political class continues to insult the average Nigerian, the ordinary Nigerian. They continue to steal our future and put it on our faces that we can't do anything. So that's why nobody in Nigeria, except people who are irredeemably optimistic like myself, will actually reasonably, realistically want to believe in Nigeria. The political class will go around, these people steal more than they need. You go to the person who represents you, your constituency, he doesn't come home. Your president doesn't, you talk from now to tomorrow, he does whatever he wants, as if we are running a military system. The essence of a democracy is for the people, for the powers of the people to be felt. And you plan your actions, policies, and programs in line with how majority of the people feel. So majority of Nigerians have lost faith in Nigeria. Majority of Nigerians do not believe that there is any reason to continue being Nigerians. And they are justified because the political class do not even believe in Nigeria. Because if they believe in Nigeria, they will not they will not carry on the way they are going. So they do not care about Nigeria. They see Nigeria, they see political offices as a marketplace, as an opportunity to steal monies they do not need, to steal monies their children do not need. So do you imagine, sometimes I think it's a mental illness for someone to be given a contract to do a road that leads to his house, that helps his constituents. He pockets the entire money. And I know a lot of people today who do not have a road to their house. Why? They were in positions of authority where they could have put these things in place. So how do you expect neighbors to those kind of politicians to believe in Nigeria? People like us who continue talking about believing in Nigeria risk being stoned. Every day we go on the street, we are afraid that we could be stoned because the people we are talking to see us as saboteurs, not knowing that we are angrier than they are, but we cannot because of the kind of, there is a language I will use now. Elomba TV will tell me I've used the wrong language, but they do not know that the people, we feel more mortified by the kind of imbeciles governing us, for Christ's sake. But there is nothing we can do. We cannot, because we cannot in anger over how these people, how these imbeciles have running this country, decide to destroy the country with them. You have to continue maintaining some hope, maintaining faith, believing that somehow, some way, something will go right. So there is no a Nigerian who does not have any. What does Nigerian government do for you? Nothing. Go to other countries, people are paid welfare because they don't work. People drill their boreholes. Where I live, I drilled my borehole. I give myself water, I pay for my gas, I even maintain my road. You pay people, you go, is it not the worst embarrassment to any government that you'll be driving on the road, you see some young boys trying to repair potholes, fill up the potholes, and they collect money from you. And while we are at that, some people in government are talking about introducing, what do you call it, toll gates to collect money from Nigerians for what they didn't do. So there is no reason, actually, there is no rational reason to believe in Nigeria, to continue to believe in Nigeria. But because we do not have any other country, because we have the misfortune of being born into this country, Because we do not think also that the best option is to leave Nigeria. Because we know that if we leave Nigeria today, those who are talking about secession are not better than the current ruiners, the current ruler, the current destroyers of Nigeria. They're not better. They will be worse, actually, because we have monitored them. We've seen how they talk. We've seen the kind of things they do. They're worse. They're only looking for an opportunity to further deal with us. But they are given a smaller territory. So we are not joining them in that discussion, because we know that the problem is not with the entity, the geography called Nigeria. No, the problem is with the individuals, the imbeciles who have had the opportunity of governing this country. Are you there?
Yes.
So that is it. There is no reason for anyone to continue to believe in Nigeria. There is no single reason for you to continue to believe in Nigeria. But if there is any reason, the only reason is because there is no alternative. Those who are talking about to do to a republic are only looking for a territory they can carve out for themselves, not for the benefit of the people of Oduduwa. Those who are talking about Biafran Republic are people, are businessmen. They do not have the interest of the ordinary Biafran, the ordinary Igbo man at heart, because if they did, like today, it's all over the news that a group of people went to a school where children who, there is no child of a rich man, there is no child of a politician who will be in that school. Children, we are writing their common or their junior school certificate examination or whatever. And some idiot went there, shot into the air and stopped them from writing their exams. What manner of wickedness is that? And they're talking about freedom. What kind of freedom is that? So these people, what we are talking about is, we need to understand, we do not need to continue to be politically correct about this. People come to this kind of discussions with a mindset. Oh, this Igbo man is coming to talk about the marginalization of Igbos. I will not allow him to have his way. Oh, this Hausa man is coming to talk about why the Hausas must continue. I will not allow him to have his way. Let us tell ourselves the truth. Let us tell people like us who are politically exposed are not free, are not guilt free, so to say. We know what is happening. Those who are in charge of this country are ruining this country. And the higher they go, the worse they become. So let us try to tell ourselves the truth for the sake of our children, for the sake of ourselves, because we are not even better off, even though we may know a lot of politicians. We find out that the guys do not care for anyone else but themselves and their children. Some of them who do not even care about their children. That is why you see a lot of them, when they die or when they stop being active, their children become useless. Because you cannot want the best for your children and bring them up under the condition you bring them up. Most of them do not know how to care for themselves. Most of them do not know how to care for their own children even. So what are we talking about?
Mr. Onwusoanya, 1 second, please. Let me interject at this point to ask this question of Dr. Gesto. I've had opportunity to listen to him on another forum where he was kind of saying that when you talk of marginalization, you come to some parts of northern Nigeria for you to see what marginalization really is. So, Dr. Gesto, are you able to elaborate on that? You tend to believe that some areas of the north are seriously marginalized more than some others. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I'm saying, my argument to that is the fact that I really appreciate the way he finally coined and come back to my point that the missing link is the patriotism. Because the question is, all the cycle of elites that ruled Nigeria in the 1970s, in the 1980s, in the 1990s, and between the 2000, the Y2K to date, go back to their respective communities where they come. Go and check. You will see Igbo man there, you will see a Yoruba man there, but when you will see Hausa man there, you will see whosoever there. But when you look at the health facility there, you will cry. When you look at the schools there, you will cry. For you to have access road, I can swear to God that most of the ministers serving under Buhari administration and those who served under Goodluck administration and those who served under IBB administration and those who served under Abacha administration and those who served under Obasanjo military administration and Shehu Shagari and so on and so forth, when you want to have access to the communities where they were born, you will find it very, very difficult. And when you go and check at the schools where they graduated, the primary school where they finished, where they graduated in their respective communities, you will cry. So, which means that, and when it comes to issue of corruption, when they want to siphon the money of this country, when they want to siphon the political positions, when they want to kind of take distribute resources among themselves, Muhammadu is not there, John is not there, David is not there, Chiwake is not there, Ungozi is not there. Everybody is a Nigerian at that level. So that is why you have moved around and come back to my argument that the missing link why Nigeria is not moving forward is because we miss that word patriotism. We only have Nigeria as a country, as a geographical country, but not as a nation. We are not nationalists. We don't have passion and compassion. And when you go back to Kano State, for example, where I came from, we have 44 local governments. In my own local governments, where we have had a number of members of the National Assembly, all the so-called constituency project, there is no project that was executed that lasted for 3 years. It's either, if it is classroom, it will start scratching when you touch it with your finger. Ordinarily with your finger, you will see the paint, you will see the plaster, you will see the blocks even shredding. So, and at the same time, if it is health facility, they are providing a kind of the standard of drugs, the standard of whatever they are providing there. That is, I'm citing example to you for my state. My friend, I think from the way you are talking, you have not been to all parts of Nigeria. For me, I have a privilege to have visited all the local governments in Nigeria as an issue. And I have visited at least 48 countries in the world. So I have been to Asia, I have been to some part of in the Arab world, and I have been to all countries in West Africa and almost all countries in East Africa. And so what I see to myself is that even if you go to ordinarily to Niger Republic here, go and see the development there. Go and see the infrastructure there. Go and see the rule of law there. Go and see that, yes, of course, I'm not saying that there are no corruptions there. But to narrow down, coming back,
so what do you think?
You see how someone is in Enugu, how someone is in Abakaliki, how someone is in Oyo, how someone is in Sabo Ore, how someone is in Oyo in Ibadan. Likewise, there is no nook and cranny of northern Nigeria that you will go, and you will not find Igbo man having a business. And if that Igbo man will leave his shop open, know how someone will touch a single naira for him. The following day, he will come back and meet his money there. And go and tell me, come move around to all parts of the northern Nigeria and see the real marginalization. That the elites, the political class you are taking, they are the ones who are misguiding and mismanaging the resources. And it is as a result of the way and manner they believe in Nigeria as a cycle of ruling class. They didn't believe in Nigeria as a nation and as a country. And you see Yoruba man in Zaria. You see Yoruba man in
Dr. Gesto, let me ask Dr. Gesto, let me interject here. The feeling some parts of Nigeria is that majority of the Nigerian political leaders have come from the north. If you are telling us that the large set are feeling marginalized, who should we blame for that? Are we not to blame the Northern leaders?
Well, in general terms, we have to accept that there is a leadership issues. That I cannot argue. Yes, it is very clear. But I want everybody in my audience to understand that politics is the game of number. It is whatever we have, the political leaders, the political elites, the ruling class. It is not all encompasses all of them that are from northern Nigeria. You cannot tell me that they are the ones that have been in the leadership of police. They are the ones that have been in the leadership of the military. They are the ones in the leadership in the army, in the navy all the time. It's rotational. And you cannot tell me that I believe by data, I have my backup and I have information. Go back to National Bureau of Statistics and look at the indices, look at the number of employed staff, look at the distribution of the staff, the civil service, and look at even the private, the MDS, and even the private companies owned by individuals from northern Nigeria. The larger population of the personnel in those industries came from other parts of the country, not really from northern Nigeria. North is very accommodating. You cannot tell me that if I go to Enugu today, I will be given a chance. I can tell you can't tell me that there is a single houseman in Enugu that have a shop, own a shop, have the certificate of occupancy and so on and so forth. But come to Kano State, come to Katsina State, come to Kaduna State, come to Sokoto State. Wherever you go, there is even a location being carved and owned by Igbos, owned by Yorubas, and they have all the certificate of occupancies and so on and so forth. Go to Kano State, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso have given a sensitive position of appointment to an Igbo woman when he was in power. And go to Kano State now. Even Abdullahi Umar Ganduje have given appointment to the people from southern part of the country. Tell me any of the states in the southeast that have given any political appointment.
All right, Dr. Gesto, let's get back to the. We thank you. So we can come back to that.
We have to be realistic. We have to be optimistic. Yes, like you mentioned, that those northern elders, I have condemned them in totality. They are not protecting the our interest with the northerners. That's I believe. The Ndigbo, the so-called Ndigbo, the so-called Biafra agitators, the so-called Odua agitators. I have been meeting with them at a different fora. We met at the regional level. We met at the national level. We met at the AU level. I attended a meeting with the African Union in Ethiopia in Addis Ababa one time, where we have all this class of people from all parts of the country. We went and we discussed how do we move Nigeria forward. If you want to move Nigeria forward,
I will come back to that. Dr. Gesto
is not there. We don't have interest on this nation.
Dr. Gesto, come back to that very soon. We'll come back to some of the issues you raised, but let's allow Captain Casimir Chinonso Mwafo to make his contribution, and then after we'll take from there.
Thank you, participants. I've listened to the discussions going on, and the last speaker he made some valid points. The problem we have in Nigeria is the elites, the people who claim to be from the north or from Muslims, using religion and tribalism to hoodwink their people and then the entire country. Because what you rightly said, when you look at the number of years we have had as a country, and the leadership of the country have been from the north, and yet these same people have kind of depreciated the northern region. They have turned it into another Afghanistan and Rwanda. And yet, they're from the same part of the country. They can't even provide security for their people. They can't even provide food for their people. They can't provide jobs for their people. They can't even provide basic amenities. Go to the north. I served in the north. I served in Kano State. Before I retired, I was in Jigawa and Katsina. Go to these states, you see poverty everywhere. And yet, you see some of them have been House of Rep Speaker, who is now the governor. Very confused bunch of human beings everywhere. And tomorrow they'll tell you they're from here and they're from there. So when our people should pity the North. I'm an Igbo man. Yes, I may feel marginalized to an extent because I feel that what we are supposed to be given as a part of the country, we are not getting it. But when you go to the North, you see that even the North We're talking about marginalization. It is even the elites. If we as a country can come together and know that our problem are not ourselves, or one another. The problem of Igbo is not our man or Yoruba man. It is the problem of the elites who are leaders, who are the so-called leaders. They are the ones putting our heads together and be controlling their fund and be marrying their daughters and sons. And you just see them. This one, you go and kill yourself for them. Tomorrow, one will marry their son, one will marry the daughter. You have a bunch of people who don't regard the country, who don't even believe in Nigeria as leaders. And then we kill ourselves pointing at each other's mouth. And having said that, when you come to marginalization, my brother, the president of Nigeria used his own mouth to tell you that he will marginalize the Southeast after he was sworn in. So I don't want anybody to tell me that the president is not marginalizing anybody. He himself owned up that he will marginalize the Southeast and some South. When he said he has 95%, and he has been doing that, let's not even go there. But that is by the way. Then when you're talking about marginalization again, you talk about in the Southeast, and from the Southeast, I have to speak about Southeast for just a few minutes before I'm not going to other places. We have business, this is Nigeria's business center. But we don't have any seaport here. We have waters. The Oguta seaport is enough to have a seaport. The Onitsha, they will tell you they will do grace today, they will grace tomorrow. We are the highest importers in Nigeria. Yeah, there is no seaport in that region. You went and borrowed money. You want to do a railway project. A part of the country that funds port, no single railway project, and you borrowed billions that we are going to contribute in paying back. Not even one rail line was started in the Southeast. So you now talk about issue of international airports. We are the highest travelers in this country. The ones we have Enugu today, they will bring it down. Tomorrow they will raise it up. So you see that nothing is happening. It's as if you don't belong to the equation. I'm not talking about issue of appointments. Yes, like I said, sometimes I don't look at appointments as a method because you only end up in individuals' pockets. You don't see them having any value to the people they represent. But those infrastructures, those basic amenities, how do you distribute it to show that these people have a sense of belonging in what we are talking about? This is the first time in Nigeria you are seeing the head of all security agencies from one particular tribe or region. Then even go to the north, even the Christian north is highly marginalized. When you're talking about these appointments from the north, because I like being balanced. Nigeria is a balanced country. You cannot tell me that you cannot do without religion. You must be very careful with those things. You have to balance it. Like that's why I have Christian president, not Muslim vice president. You will always balance it. You don't say it is not there, it is there. Abiola tried it and it worked because at that time there was no this feeling of, but we are beginning to see the things. So that is one before under Abiola, 1990, nothing was like that. People were so free. There was no nepotism and religion so as bad as it is today, which Buhari just came and maybe gave crown, full of nepotism and sheer kind of maladministration we have in the country now. So that is a marginalization, my brother. It's everywhere. The Southeast, the Christian North, the South, and other things.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Ogoni cleansing. Up till now, nothing is happening. Each time you go about it, yes, the president is trying in terms of infrastructure, like the roads of the Niger Bridge. Onwusoanya said it, my other day. Yeah, there are areas he has tried. We will not rule out everything completely for him. But to tell me that people are not marginalized is not true. But we should be very careful because the elites, those leaders, they're marginalizing, but don't take it that average kind of man, average Sokoto man is marginalizing an Igbo man. No. Then on the issue of giving CFO and other things, the issue is that I've not seen another who applied for CFO in the Southeast and was not given. I don't think it's like that. Because most times is that when they come, they rent. I mean, I was in Oka, bottom of Enugu. They rent houses. They don't like owning property. That's the problem by those from the north. They don't like owning property. They move around. They come in with the cattle, they settle, they do that. So they don't settle. Unlike an Igbo man who will build house, build hospital, build. Let any person from the north who has applied for CFO and was not given, let him come out.
All right, we thank you. Before we take the responses from our guests, let's hear from Dr. Usman Adamu, please.
All right, thank you very much, friends and brothers and sisters. My little contribution about Nigeria. I follow my friend, Dr. Yahuza Gesto. We belong to the same community and platform. We have spent decades lamenting about the problems of this country. I'm 58 years old, schooled in Rivers State, Port Harcourt. The same problems that were in discussion, were in conversation 30, 40 years ago are the same problems today. There is hope for our country. We can fix it. Whose responsibility is it to fix Nigeria? It is us. We need to step up our responsibility and take leadership. Leadership will never come to your way through lamentation. Lamentation does not solve any problem. It's unfortunate that every conversation in this country is about ethnicity and religion, right? I schooled abroad. I came back to this country because I believed in the capacity of us Nigerians to fix our nation. Several of my colleagues, students, did not return, and they established successful practices abroad. So my contribution is the responsibility of everyone here on this call. How many people have we mentored apart from our children? How many people have we actually supported? They are all around us. If we imbibe the culture of support, irrespective of who you are, around your community, support your community, go through the travails of community security and everything, this country, patriotism will be promoted. Lamentations will not take us anywhere. Voluntary compliance, we are blaming leaders. Let us step in and take the position of leadership that will affect mankind and let rest this issue of ethnicity and religion in this country. There are so many things to talk. The same people, when we were in secondary school, telling us we are the leaders of tomorrow, they are the same people around, 70-year-olds. Imagine 70-year-olds still aiming to lead this country. The 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds are relegated to the background. It's our responsibility to step up and take leadership, mentor others to be good citizens and patriots of this nation. My little contribution, there is so much to talk. Lamentation will not take us anywhere. Let us stop the conversation about ethnicity and religion. You understand? So that's the way I think patriotism will actually be promoted. Otherwise, we sit here, the problems are enormous. We sit here till morning. Lamentation is what I've been hearing right from the beginning. Unfortunately, sorry, apologies, I joined the call very late. But it's lamentation upon lamentation. We blame our leaders. How many of us can we boast of being patriotic, being our brother's keeper, being our neighbor's keeper? Is very limited. Therefore, lamentation will not take us to the promised land. It's patriotism and being our brother's keeper that will actually take us out of the woods in terms of underdevelopment, in terms of insecurity in this country. So thank you, brothers and sisters. This is my little contribution. Thank you.
Okay, we thank you very much. We are coming to near the end, but before we go back to the guests, let's hear from Elder Tango Gochuku, please, before we go back to our guests.
Hello, thank you, Rumba. I follow and listen very carefully all that the doctor said and that everybody said in this forum. We are the same moving around the same place. We have a common problem, everybody knows. There's a problem, I've seen it in many forums, that Nigeria has only two tribes, the rich tribe and the poor tribe. We know, but there's a complaint about Igbo domination, not allowing people to participate in Igbo side or in Igbo field. It's not true. I was born in Igbo land, grew up as an Igbo, live with Yahuza. I was born and brought up in Onitsha. Live with Yahuza in Onitsha. And their mindset, we see, they don't like to even invest They are with us. Even the rich ones among them doesn't care to invest. The Seriki of Onitsha has money to have a lot of property in Onitsha, but you don't want, it's not interested. So Igbo man call anywhere he find himself home and make that environment okay. That gives him victory, not only in Nigerian circle, all over the world. If Igbo man enter that place, he made that place good. Because he believes when that place is good for him too. In the north, I serve in the north too. The interiors. I discover many tribes, many different set of people in the north with different culture, religion, behavior, and everything. But they have one thing in common, one chain in common: the caliphate domination, oligarchy, and Judaism system that they believed that this class is class. Even in the north, some people cannot look the caliphate face to face in the eye and say the truth. If you do it, that's the end of him. So this blame we are blaming ourselves in Nigeria, the world is going and we are not going with the world. And the world is growing. We must follow the modern goal, how the world is today. Number one, a lot of things went wrong in our system. As we started the quota system, this and that, we kill merit. When Nigeria have no this quota system or no this thing, we fill in experts, people that know the job. Not where that you will be there. You see a past secretary who doesn't know anything, using the junior class to do the job. It happened because it's power to be there. And it's affecting the system. What do we have? Like now, just our football as an example. When Nigeria were carrying cup, we don't care who play. The name that we don't listen to the name. What we listen is Nigeria won the match. Nigeria and Japan or Nigeria and Argentina, who won? Nigeria won. We don't get time to know names or who played or who scored the goal even. So what I'm saying is that all commenting we are accusing ourselves is not the way out. Everybody see what is happening now. It's not right. By the time we say it's not right, then we remove Igbo, Yahuza, Fulani in it. That's my point I'm bringing. Yoruba or tribal. We go to our problem direct. So we go to our problem direct. Going to our problem is to be honest to ourselves, know where we get it all wrong, and amend it, finish.
All right, thank you very much. So we go back to our guest to round up the discussion. Let's start with Dr. Yahuza Gesto. You have heard what the contributors have said. What do you have to respond to any of them, and then your final submission?
Thank you very much for your contributions. And I believe sincerely, what we need in Nigeria is not about breaking Nigeria into pieces. Because if we break Nigeria into pieces, that will be the biggest mistake we will ever do. The best way is to come back to the drawing board, look at the reality, and look at ourselves eyeball to eyeball, not by the so-called referendum that we have had before, because I condemn in totality, in capital letter, bold and italic, to make it very clear, as I have been making my position always, that the elites, which I am inclusive, we have been cheating the common man in this country. Why? Because our centered belief and operational way or a manner by which we do things, we only believe in making sure that our immediate environment is clean. So when we clean our immediate environment, let the rest go to hell. So, and that is why we have that missing link, which I still argue, and which is has been my argument has been supported by many of the contributors, and even the co-presenter also, that we need to come back to look at the reality and look at Nigeria as a country and take it with all passion and compassion and look at the issues and change the strategy. The operational strategy has to change, whereby we have to go back. Whosoever want to fix Nigeria must go back to the downstream. I cannot stay in Abuja and be dictating for people in Gorzo local government where I came from. I cannot stay in Abuja and be dictating for people in Ebonyi, people in Enugu, people in Oyo, Ondo, Lagos, and so on. We have to go back to the downstream and change the operational strategy to bottom-top approach so that the ordinary people who have the largest population, those who we are driving, we are stepping through their nose to fly, we must go back and ensure that we carry them along by building their capacity, by ensuring that we develop agenda with them for what is needed at their community, not that somebody will stay in Abuja and say, I need to have a train between Abuja and Kaduna. That is misplacement of priority. We need to change our policy direction. We need to change our implementation direction. We need to change our social and cultural orientation. And like says by Dr. Usman and the elder, we have to go back to our senses. I really appreciate and commend the elder and Malam Usman for their input, whereby they reiterated the need for us to go back and look at our cultural base and build our and reorient ourselves. So probably when we change the orientation of our policy, when we change the orientation of our leadership, when we change the orientation of even how we anoint leadership. I have been participating in a number of policy issues, and I have been tracking. For example, I keep saying that the government of Muhammadu Buhari spent the highest amount of money, budgeted and spent the highest amount of money as far as security and safety is concerned. But why is the security? There is no security in the north. There is no security in the south. There is no security everywhere. I am a professional in that field, and I know how much have been spent. And this is the issue that have been disturbing each and everybody. So it is only when I look at myself, you look at yourself, and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? What am I supposed to do that I'm not doing? Then we can be able to understand the margins. So it is when we understand the margins between the Igbo, the Hausa, and the Yoruba and others, and then the Muslim and the Christian, the more we continue to talk about religion, I think as far as I'm concerned, religiously, we are just deceiving ourselves. Because each of those two religions, if our prophets will come back now and see the way we are pretending that we are religious, we are Christians, we are Muslims, we are deceiving ourselves. I had a privileged opportunity to have interacted and studied. I read more than 700 Christian books. And I can't tell you the number of Islamic books I read. And I'm still reading. Right now that I'm talking to you around me, I have many Bibles around me, and I have many Islamic books. And I always go through them, and I don't see the practice in the faces of Buhari, in the faces of Osibanjo, in the faces of Ndigbo, in the faces of Northern Elders, in the faces of Odua or Alpiniferi or whosoever. I have interacted with different caliber of people, and like I say, and I keep saying, I have been to all local governments in Nigeria. There is no local governments in Nigeria that I have not been to. And there is no community in northern Nigeria where either herdsmen or whosoever, that political word, herdsmen, I'm still conducting research to know where we really get it from and why are we using it against ourselves, and so on and so forth. So yes, I believe there are gaps here and there in terms of the leadership, in terms of implementing the policies, in terms of making the policies, in terms of probably where the economy is. Come back and look at the northern Nigeria. What have the government done as far as in northern Nigeria, our primary source of income is agriculture. Come and check. There is nothing available on ground. So as you are feeling marginalized, we too, we are feeling marginalized. So which means there is a missing link. And that missing link is you, I, and them. When I say you, I, and them, I am referring to myself. What am I doing wrong? And how do I help my people in my own community, in Gesto town, in Gorzo local government, in Kano state, to move forward? What have I not been doing to push Gorzo local government to be a better environment, to be a better local government, to be a better political world, to be a better political environment, to be a better cultural environment, to be a better religious environment, and to be a better geographical environment? So these so-called elites, whether we like it or not, at their own cycle, at the ages of 60 and above, when they are talking about Nigeria, they are talking about their self-centered business. They are not talking, they don't have interest, they don't have passion for Nigeria, they are not patriotic, they are
thank you, Dr. Gesto.
and they lack vision and mission, and they lack, they don't have sense of direction. And we must come back, the youth between the age of 35 to the age of 60, we must come back together, look at ourselves, eyeball to eyeball. They have been saying young shall grow. I'm 51. So when am I going to grow?
Thank you. I will come to that discussion. I will come to a discussion related to that at the end of this program when we'll talk without being recorded or streaming it live. But meanwhile, thank you very much, Dr. Gesto. We'll come back to that issue in the meantime. Let's listen to Mr. Onwusoanya FCC Jones. You have listened to the contributors of people in the meeting and also Dr. Gesto himself. How would you respond, and then what will be your concluding submission?
Thank you very much. I think what I can extract from what everybody has said is, like myself, every true and patriotic Nigerian is confused. We do not know what solution to give to the Nigerian predicament. I will speak as in dual capacity, one as an Igbo leader and secondly as a Nigerian. As an Igbo leader, I will want to appeal that the Nigerian government reconsiders this marginalization of the Igbo, which are obvious. In one, making the Southeast region have equal number of states with most of the other regions, which is 6 states at least. The North Central has 6 states, and the Federal Capital Territory, which is 7 federation units. I think the Northwest has 7 states, while the other regions have 6. There is no reason why the Southeast we should continue to have just 5 states. That is marginalization in black and white. Secondly, the other regions in Nigeria, every patriotic Nigeria, some people might say we should talk about merit, not zoning. But we have a peculiar nation. Nigeria is a peculiar nation with a peculiar political structure and political culture. One of the best ways to heal Nigeria of the current divisiveness and tension is for all patriotic Nigerians to come together and support an Igbo for the presidency of Nigeria in 2023. And the current federal government to work hard to make the current government more inclusive of the Igbo. This is the first time in a very long time. I think this is the first time since 1960. My knowledge of history is actually right, that no Igbo man is found among the first 20 political office holders or influential politicians in Nigeria among the ruling party. This is the first time since 1960 that is happening. So as quickly as possible, those who can talk to the president, we should champion that cause to bring about this balance, which is very important. Also, economically, we should begin to, there is no reason why the Southeast shouldn't have a seaport. The international airport we have in Enugu is not operating at its optimal state. Something should be done about that. And the rail lines that are being built all over the country, even up to Niger Republic, that is not Nigeria. The Southeast should be considered. The federal government of Nigeria should cite one important legacy project in the Southeast to show the Southeast people that truly we are part of this country. Now, as a Nigerian, I want to say that, like I stated from the onset, that every Nigerian is marginalized, every region is marginalized. That is one thing I said, and I am very convinced it is the truth. What we should be talking about as Nigerians who are patriotic, as Nigerians who have continued to foolishly or unrealistically believe that Nigeria can work, is that we should form a tribe of Nigerians, Nigerian masses against the Nigerian elite or the Nigerian political class. Because these are the only two obvious divisions we have in Nigeria. We do not have the Hausa man in Daura. There is insecurity in Daura where the president comes from. Everything is not all right in Daura. There is trouble in Kano. There is trouble in Adamawa. There is trouble in Niger State. There is trouble all over Nigeria. So what we should be talking about as Nigerians is how do we make Nigeria work, no matter who is the president, no matter who is the vice president. And the only way this can happen is by electing people who have something in their skulls. Mostly we have been electing idiots. I'm sorry to use that word. People who do not know what they want. By next year, from any time from now, you hear the same campaign promises. They go and copy it from wherever they copy it from. And when they come from political rallies, they tell you the same thing. They repeat the same stories. I will build the roads. I will do this and do that. And at the end of the day, when they get to that office, they become confused. Because initially, from the onset, they do not have the necessary preparation, the necessary training to hold the political offices we give them. Today in Anambra, some of them are already running around. We have a lot of them who talk, who tell you what you want to hear, because the Nigerian political system has become 419. It is pure 419. You have to be a 419 for you to succeed in Nigerian politics. So, and the operators understand this. They do everything they want to do. They tell you what they want to tell you, what they think will convince you. They deceive you, give you little money to take your attention off what they're doing and go ahead to either rig themselves into power or deceive you into electing them. And they get there without doing anything even for themselves. I have someone, there are governors, there are people who have been governors in this country and they do not have roads to their houses. They do not, you look around their immediate community, you do not see people, they met millionaires or that they lifted from poverty. That is why I said in one of my earlier submissions that even in corruption, Igbos are marginalized. Because assuming we have a set of people who are actually bigots, who are actually sectional. If President Muhammadu Buhari is able to develop Katsina, to develop Daura, make Katsina one of the safest states in Nigeria, the presidency, when it moves from Katsina and goes to another place, that person, if he is so ethnic-minded and responsible, will make his own area better, make his people rich. Before you know it, development goes round. Before you know it, prosperity goes round the people. There is nowhere in the world where there is no corruption. As long as you're a politician, there must be some corruption tendencies in you. America is as developed as it is today because it has practiced democracy for a very long time. When you get power, you use it to develop your people and develop some of your friends. These are human beings who belong to that country, for Christ's sake. But we have a situation in Nigeria where these people, where these investors get to power, they do not even develop their children. Because developing your children, it's not about giving them money, giving them billions, allowing them access to public funds, to party, to show off. Before you know, no matter how much billions you are able to stockpile, it will finish. But when you're able to invest in the right things, in good education, this is your spend hundreds of millions of naira and dollars going abroad to treat ordinary headache. If they're able to invest that money in building great hospitals in this country, people will be coming from outside Nigeria, even if it's from neighboring African countries to treat themselves here. And they will even make more money for themselves, even if they build those hospitals as private hospitals. But we have a situation in this country where we are being governed by, I do not know how to describe them anymore. So let us work towards changing the leadership recruitment system in Nigeria as Nigerians And let other Nigerians, especially those who are better opportuned at having access to our national cake, look towards the Igbos and balance up things so that we have the same access to corruption as they do too. That is how we will survive.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.